Good morning again, everybody. This is Yin Yang broadcasting from California with Morsels of a Thought number 1213A. 1213A, because earlier it was a flop. I think it was a real flop when I did it earlier. And what happened was I got a little bit of a injury from my cat, and then I had to go away to take care of my injury. Oh my gosh. So anyway, I got some Joan Chen quotes that I wanted to read. It took me a minute to get there, but I got it. And I wanted to say that she made quite a few films, including one from Tibet, where she filmed something called Shoo Shoo, the Scent Down Girl. And that one people said was not a beautiful film. Well, it was a beautiful film, it was not a beautiful story. So it was one where I can't find the quote now. Shoot. But she said that the lowest budget US films are better than filming in Tibet. And that was something that she said, because The Sent Down Girl is a story about um, a woman who is a teenager. She's sent from her hometown to a factory in Tibet, and she's made to make milk powder. They make milk powder there, and so she winds up looking very alluring to people because she's got powder all over herself and all that. So the men decide that they're going to so-called promote her, and they promote her to this really far away place where she has to live in a tent with a man, and they have to put a divider up, and then the people come and they take all kinds of advantage of her. They come one at a time. It's a remote place that's miles and miles away. There's no police. And so she winds up having to deal with this. This is the conflict of the story. I won't give away the ending, but it was a sign that those cultural revolutionary ideas during the 1970s in China, mainland China, were not much of a good thing. And if you're a fan of Joan Chen, you would know that all of her films were up to that point about Chinese culture, and she herself is from mainland China. So the films that I was talking about that I would have made if I had become a director would have been very different, because I grew up in America, so my films would have been from the standpoint of the United States. So anyway, Joan Chen quotes from sayings. The lowest budget US films are 10 times better than shooting in Tibet. And this is from an interview from Twin Peaks. She gets sent down for Shushu interview in 1999, May 6th. She says, acting is actually private. And she says, I never went on an audition. I never went on an audition when they were really looking at everybody. And then she says, I would never offer advice without the person asking for it. I, in general, don't believe in giving advice. Actually, as a human being, I don't. So that's a good thing. I will always have a career. I believe in working. I don't believe that taking care of your house and children is enough for a woman. You don't feel complete. That's the truth. And what else is there? Let's take a look. I have to go back and forth. If you know how to do a job very well, you keep doing it. My fairy tale life ended the moment I wanted to apply for a passport. Um, I'll say that when I was in China in the 2000s, 2002, I had to go and get a pass, some kind of an approval to get married. I got married in China, and I had to go to the U.S. consulate. And outside the U.S. consulate were always lines of 200 Chinese people trying to get passports to come to the United States. And since I look Chinese, a woman asked me, "So, are they doing it today?" Something about that, like, how is it going today? And it reminded me of taking a physics test where we would go to the period before outside the classroom and hang out, and when the period before had taken the test already, we would go and ask them, how was the test? What did he ask? And then the second group would always get better scores than the first group for that reason. So I got reminded of that at that time. All teenagers have this desire to somehow run away. Well, maybe in her view. All Asian parents are into your children having a respectable, decent, stable job. Acting was unimaginable to my parents. That's interesting. Let's see. Acting for me is not a bad habit like smoking that I must make an effort to quit. I love acting. I love directing. Good morning, John Clark. Good morning, good morning, good morning. As an actress, I find the most enjoyable part of acting is really just to please the director. I just want to please my director. That is so true. A cinematographer is the same word as the same person as the director. And the film pivots on the director's direction. They have to think of everything. I don't find intimate scenes more difficult than other scenes. How do you explain certain physical qualities that somehow sell on screen? You're born with it. Certain people are just more watchable, and I was more watchable. I don't think I understood acting or drama very well when I was a kid. But I don't think I understood acting very well when I was a kid. I don't want to tell people what I make. It's a lot more than I ever dreamed of as a kid. I never think about it. That's interesting. Okay. All right. So, since age 14, I know what actors fear, what they like. I know how to get things out of them, and I listen to them better since I've been there. Since I've been there. There are many ways you can make money. Certain ways will make you happy. Certain other ways will make other people happy. But if you go in because there's money in there, you're bound to fail. Bound to fail! Exclamation point. That's a truism. I'm so glad she said that because that was why I wanted to go into directing at the time. I was motivated by the fame and the money. Good morning, John Clark. Thank you for coming. Thank you for the hearts. And how many minutes have I been on? 5 minutes? 8 minutes? Ooh, 9 minutes. Okay, so we will end the stream. I'm so sorry about earlier. I think I'm going to go in and archive that particular video. But I will say what else I said in there, which was that if there was a time 20 years ago when I studied, not acting, but studied cinematography a little bit. And I really, really wanted to make a film. And I wanted to star in a film too. I was actually asked to be in a film, a Chinese American film. Actually, it was a Chinese film, that particular one. And then I was also asked to write a script. They offered me $50,000. But I figured out that it took them 3 years to make a movie at the time, that particular group of people. So I thought 50,000 is great for 1 year, but maybe 3 would be a little hard to live on. So I didn't do it, and there it was. The money was my motivating factor, and there you see it. I didn't do it. And it would have been a nice idea because I had a lot of energy for it at the time. By sheer coincidence, my TA, my teaching instructor, teaching assistant to the professor at SF State University, was um, uh, um, living right across from me, directly across in the house. Her house was across the street from my apartment, and we saw each other in the classroom, and we're like, and she was the one that asked me to be in the movie, and then I didn't do it. And I said, I don't want to be typecast. I said that to myself. It was a role. It was a role as a sick patient, and I thought I didn't want to be typecast because that was a very I wasn't wearing that necklace, but there's a character in Chinese mythology, not mythology. There's a character in a book. It's a very famous classic of a book called "The Dream of the Red Chamber," and I wish I still had that book. I would read that to you. The Dream of the Red Chamber. A woman in there is very sickly all the time and very pessimistic and um, just one of those kids and teenagers that grew up that way. And she is called Lin Yu, and I would have been typecast as Lin Yu. So I didn't want to do that role in the movie. I had excuses. I was like, oh, money. I want money. I want money. And that's not a good thing. So in a way, it's good that I didn't do it. So anyway, so okay. Alrighty. We will talk to you tomorrow. Okay. Old Kinderhead.